Amen. Everybody sing amen. 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 One more time. Amen. 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 When this cruel world tears us apart, your love is like a river flowing from my heart. When sharpened words have left their scars, your love is like a river flowing from my heart. And it's overflowing and showing us all how deep and how wide is your love. It never stops, it rages on. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. When I am tired and so afraid, your love is like a fire that will light my way. When darkness comes and my vision fades, your love is like a fire that will light my way. And it's always burning and stirring my soul to know you and love you much more. It never stops or ever fades. Your love is like a fire that will light my way. Your love is like a fire that will light my way. When all my strength and hope is gone, your love is like a rock that I am standing on. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. Your love is like a fire that will light my way. Your love is like a rock that I am standing on. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse, and we're so glad to have everyone here today, and those that are present here and those that are watching via live streaming, welcome to all. I am Leland Jackson, your platform assistant for today. So let us open with the reading of today's daily word. It is healing. I relax into the infinite stream of divine life, and I am healed. There's a universal flow of wholeness, an inexhaustible and irrevocable stream of life, in which I live, move, and have my being. As I close my eyes and relax into the remembrance of this truth, I feel the sweet ecstasy of bathing in divine love. The indwelling presence of God is my true identity. As waves of well-being gently wash over me, they draw out any anxiety, sadness, fear, and all beliefs in lack and limitation that have been cluttering my perception. My mind and heart are restored to the awareness of divine life. Love heals. Love frees me from any suffering that I might have been experiencing in mind, body, or spirit. Love restores me to a deep faith in God's infinite presence, power, and peace. Resting in love's curative, life-giving waters, I am refreshed and revitalized. I am healed. And from Psalms chapter 30, verse 2, O Lord my God, you have healed me. And so we take this time to fully understand our own divinity. As the daily word said, It's the indwelling presence of God is my identity. And so when we open up to that, let that be our true reality. We truly are healed. We are blessed. And it is a wonderful day. And for this we say, Amen, and so it is. And so now it's time that our children go to YFM, and teachers are in the back, children meet them, and we will sing them out as we go, the blessing.
We love you,
We bless you, we truly, truly appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you. And please stand as you're able and join me in our statement of being. It's there on the screen. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And take this time for our sacred greetings. And
there's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place could be brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true to make a better day for you and me. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true to make a better day for you and me. You are the world. You are the world. You are the children. You are the children. You are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. true will make a better day for you and me. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Oh, make a better place. Make a better day for you and for me. Oh, for you and for me. Make a better day for you and for me. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.
Well, as they're getting our stage cleared, we'll move on with our announcements for the day. And first off, we want to say, make your name tags, wear them, please. We have someone who is part of the name tag police that will be on you if you don't. So it's just an easier way for us to remember, what was that woman's name? I can't remember from last week, right? So it helps. T-shirts. They are on pre-sale in the bookstore. We are shooting for 75 before we put our order in because that's a nice break point on them. They are $15 to $17 depending upon the size. And so let's get the sign up form on that. There are a couple of revision dates for some things that have been out there. The first is for the movie that is titled As a Man Thinketh. We're going to be showing the movie now on Saturday, October 21st, so that's kind of 2 weeks-ish away, in the evening at 6:30, and then also on Sunday afternoon, the 22nd. So there's a couple of opportunities. It's going to be advertised in New Times, I think, isn't it? Yep, so there'll be some advertisement out on that, and that's a love offering donation. Great. Inspirational movie. Check out the website if you need to, thinkethmovie.com. And then the other revision has to go with our silent auction that we are putting together. And we've moved it from October to November, the weekend before Thanksgiving, I believe it is. So Saturday the 18th from 12:30 to 4:30, and then it'll continue on Sunday from 12:30 to 2. So if we're looking for people to reach out to businesses or other things, if you have any other ideas to help put in with this silent auction, and just make this a huge fundraising expense at a time. So, and then our board president has an announcement.
Good morning. Last week I spoke about the financial situation here at Unity, that we're experiencing a record low in our finances in regards to our community giving or tithing for the church. And we have a long way to go to cover our expenses for the month, because it's going to take obviously more than one Sunday to do that. But today we would like to thank you for the hope you've given the board members for the future of Unity, because you listened to our message. Next week, hopefully, you'll see another donation on someone's part in regards to the stage lighting. And if that works out, we'll be very happy to receive this gift. And this obviously is an example how how the giving here at Unity can come in many different forms. It could be just someone volunteering their time. But again, today, we, the board members, would like to thank you for your tithing, the giving of your time, and your treasures. Namaste.
And now I would like to warmly welcome our guests. Is there anyone that is visiting us for the second or third time today? Or hasn't been here in a very long time? No? All right, is there anyone who is visiting us for the very first time today? Welcome. Our ushers have a packet for you. And Rev.Edith will be speaking in a moment as well. But know that this gift of a candle is that light spirit within you. And when you get home and light the candle again, just a memory of this wonderful blessing today. And then there's a yellow slip. If you'll fill that out and take that down to the bookstore, we have an additional gift for you there. So, and invite everyone just to join us downstairs after the service for lots of fun and fellowship. So.
Welcome you for coming to visit us today. I'm buzzing. It happens. Just don't worry about it when it happens. You know, just go, oh my God, she's electric today. But thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoy the service. I hope you have already. And just be a part of this community. We just really love and appreciate you for coming. Thank you. Okay.
And now on the screen are our 5 basic principles. These are the tenets of unity, and I will ask if there's one or two of you who would like to take a few moments to share how this was demonstrated in your life this past week. Anyone wanting to share? Oh, all right, Tony, yes. Hang on, the mic is coming.
Morning, family. Just wanted to share, it was about a week and a half ago, I went to the Ways of Consciousness Conference up in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. And one of the exercises we were asked to do was to write a letter from God to us. And I wrote a letter, and God said, well, I will reveal something to you in the morning. And about the past 15, 20 years, people have recommended that I might want to be looking at the ministry. And next morning I woke up and I was talking with a friend at the conference, and God's just like, here's your call. So looking at the principles, basic kind of covers everything, and I guess that's this part of the journey, so thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Is there anyone else up with the show? Oh, yes.
As many of you know, my husband last winter changed his title from unemployed to self-employed, which created a little bit of stress in our life, you know, financially. And he just kept believing that life would provide. Over the summer, our house that had been foreclosed on, a rental, was sold. And the new people wanted to move in, of course, so we had to move out. And we weren't sure how money was coming for all that goes along with moving. And just getting on board with being positive and affirming that what we need will come when we need it. Money did come, and then we had to face the challenge of finding the right home in the right place, and we didn't do that until about a week before we had to move. And then finding the right movers with a week notice was a difficult thing as well, but they turned out to be the perfect movers actually for the job. So just believing what we need will come when we need it. Affirmative prayer is definitely a powerful tool in this journey. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yep, it's on.
I'd just like to thank everybody in the congregation for the prayers and thoughts from the past week. As everybody knows, our ailing dog, Nate, last week we were all set to put him down, and Rev.Edith and Akoso came over to pray over him last Sunday, and he didn't quite make it. So he did pass away. And I just want to thank everybody for their prayers and thoughts, and I love you. And you will be missed, but those 5 basic principles lived through him, and I learned a lot of lessons through it, so thank you.
Okay. Now is the prayer portion of our service. Will the prayer chaplains that are serving today please stand? We have Akosawa, we have Christina in the back, and Ann. Thank you for your service. So we have a silent time of meditation from 10:30 to 10:45 in the mornings, and then prayer chaplains are available for prayer for the next 10 minutes. Available up here and downstairs, and then they're also available after the service as well. At this time, we'll have our prayer intentions and requests box brought forward. Unity was founded on prayer, and for more than 125 years at Silent Unity, they have been praying 24 hours a day, every day of the week. And if you've not yet placed your intention or request into the box, you may do so after the service. You may put it into the offering basket. But know that this is held in confidence here for the next 30 days. We don't look at them, but they are fully prayed over. And then they're forwarded on to Silent Unity, where they are held again for another 30 days.
In this present moment, we take a breath and remember our oneness with God, our oneness with each other. It is in this divine consciousness in which we live and move and have our very being that we remain steadfast and true, and with faith standing strong and praying for these prayer intentions. The prayer intentions in this box, and also the prayer intentions in our hearts and minds of those here today and those listening. And we begin by releasing for all of the fear and worry that we might be carrying about the prayer intentions, for all negative thoughts and feelings that are not serving us or serving others, that are not for the highest good of all. We release. And we now know and affirm that it is divine consciousness at work, moving in and through every person and every situation, providing divine love, comfort, support, guidance, whatever is needed. We know that divine consciousness is at work, holding that image of the highest good for all, providing all that is needed. And we hold that vision high. We are grateful for the opportunity to hold that vision together, to pray powerfully together in our oneness today, and to know that God is in charge. Amen. For this opportunity to connect and pray and remember our oneness, we are most grateful. Amen.
And now it is time for our meditative portion of this service. And some of you may have already joined me in closing your eyes. And if you have not, I invite you to do so now. And for those of you who are not quite comfortable closing your eyes, I simply ask that you focus on one spot in a room, for there is absolutely no spot where God is not. Relax. Relax into the seat where you're sitting. Relax and release. Releasing all of what it took to get here, all of what it took to push that play button on the internet, to listen to the live stream, and just be in this moment here and now. Love. There is only love. There is only love. Love is God, and God is love. And as individualized expressions of God, we indeed are love. We are the expression of love. We are the experience of love. We are the radiating activity of love now. So I invite you to take a moment in time, and remember someone you loved long ago. Perhaps it was a favorite teacher in grade school, or perhaps it was a grandparent or a parent. Remembering that love from perhaps age 5 or 7 or 9, 11. And remember what it felt like. Oh, I bet it felt real good. And in the remembering of that love so long ago, remember how you felt, what the experience of it was. The experience is what we are talking about, unconditional love in full expression. That is the love that the Spirit of God gives us. That is the love that our way shower, Jesus the Christ, gave us. That is the love that you remember now. And that loving presence is always with us. It never leaves us alone. And so as we prepare to sit in the silence, may we remember that God is love, and love is God. There is only love. And in the silence, we're able to go deeper with this experience of love, not as an individual, but as a collection of people. Not in one space, but in a universal way. We experience love now. And we experience love together. In this moment, we go deeper and consciously connect with the source of our being, love. 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 Love.
Love. Love. Love. There is only love. And in this expanded state of awareness, may we bring to our hearts and minds all of the prayer intentions in our prayer box. May we bring to our hearts and minds all of those who are directly affected by what happened in Las Vegas. May we bring to our hearts and minds all of us who are indirectly affected by what happened in Las Vegas, by what happened with the hurricanes, by what is happening with the hurricane in the Gulf region right now. All of those who are affected by earthquakes, wildfires, or anything that seems like we're separate, and affirm our oneness, and affirm that there is only love. And if anyone has any person, place, or situation on their heart, may we bring that to our mind now. For in this space, we know anything and everything is possible. And in this moment, we give great thanks. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Only
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm thinking y'all might not be awake, so I had to see. I'm Rev.Edith Washington Woods, and I'm so grateful to be the senior minister here at Unity of Syracuse and to be able to come here every week and see all of you here and to not see those out there in love streaming land. Hi, how y'all doing? These boots, see these boots? These boots were made for walking. These boots were made for running. These boots were made for dancing. I wonder why we're talking about boots. Well, you know, I'm going to tell you about two stories today that really has to do with boots, perhaps, but they also tell about love and they tell about the choices we make and how we're able to make mindful choices. You see, these stories involve two Canadians and they involve two people from the United States. They are about two people who are bartenders and two who were attendees. All four of these people, however, had one thing in common. They attended the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival last Sunday. These boots were made for walking. Someone's boots were made for dying. That's the reality of it, isn't it? Right? Well, the first story I'm going to tell you about involves this lady named Heather Goose. And she worked as a bartender. That's one of the bartenders that I was telling you about on that night. And when she heard the gunfire, of course, like everyone else, they thought that it wasn't that maybe it was fireworks or something. And then once they realized that it wasn't fireworks, people started running. And Heather, I must tell you, she actually was gonna run. Take off. Let me get out of here. And she stated these words, that she heard something inside of her that told her to stay. We know what that something is, don't we? And she listened to that still small voice, and people were getting dropped off. They had various injuries and whatnot. But then there was this guy that some gentlemen had brought over, and she sat with him. And she remembered his hand holding on to hers, that it was squeezing tight. And then she remembered when that hand just went limp. You see, Heather was there in the moment when his life was complete. She didn't know him at all, not at all, didn't know his name, didn't know who he was, didn't know who he was connected to. But there happened to be a phone that he had. I don't know, I'm wondering where was it, in his pocket or something? But the phone started ringing and she picked it up. And her and the other people who were around they asked the person who called, "Who are you calling?" And they said, "Jordan." They said, "Okay, Jordan, and what's his last name?" His last name is McColden. Jordan McColden. And what they really wanted, what Heather really wanted to do was to make sure that they knew who he was, whoever they were going to be. So she wrote his name on his, I think right on his shoulder somewhere. And the phone rang again, and it was Jordan's mother, and she didn't tell his mother what had happened, but she asked him, the mother told her that his girlfriend Amber was there. And they ended up hanging up, and Amber then called asking about Jordan, and Heather was the one that told her, he's no longer with us. And of course, Amber was, you know, like, oh my God, no, I was just with him. I mean, he's got to be all right. Are you checking? Will you make sure he's breathing? Will you do something else? And Heather said, I've been with him over an hour already. Can you imagine that? You didn't know this person from Adam or Eve? And here you are telling someone who said, this was the love of my life. Gosh. But she listened to that still small voice. You get that? That voice was going to give her something that would then give other people something. So they would not be in question. They wouldn't be questioning what had happened to Jordan. You know, Amber was in a safe place then. They were bunkered down in some hotel or whatever. And she promised Amber that she would stay with Jordan until someone came, whether it was the paramedics or whoever it was. And she did that. And during the time that she waited, she talked back to Jordan's mom. And she was very calm, actually. And she told Heather some things about her son. She said, well, he has tattoos all over his body. Okay, check. And his name when he was a kid was, oh gosh, what was it? I can't remember. It was something like Chubby, but that wasn't it. Because I guess he was kind of chunky when he was a kid. But she was talking to her and telling her and painting the picture of who he was. He worked in construction. This vibrantly alive person who wasn't vibrantly alive now. And you know, we often wonder, why does things happen the way they do? And yet we can look at this person who was an example for us all. Because Heather, she stayed with Jordan for 5.5 hours. Who would do that? Who would sit there in the cold? You know, she sat there while bullets were still going all around them. She had his blood all over her. She sat there for 5.5 hours. She said, I hope somebody would do that for me. I hope that somebody wouldn't leave me alone. That's what she said. And she didn't leave him alone. And you know what else? She was able to connect him with his family. And so many people who got hurt that night didn't. So many people got left on the ground while people were running. And she stayed. And Amber told her later that Jordan, they got connected, the police got connected with Amber, and so the dots all got connected. And so then the police were able to talk to Amber and let her know that he had gotten shot in the stomach. But isn't that interesting? What happens when we listen to that still small voice? And I noticed this picture here, and I wondered, were those his boots? These boots are made for walking. These boots were made for running. These boots were made for dancing. These boots were made for dying. It makes us sad, doesn't it? Like, why do these things keep happening like they do? Why? I have no idea, none, other than for us to have examples like Heather. You know, in the book that we're reading now, Hands-Free Life, the author, Rachel, we have this is the 8th week of the book, and the 8th intentional habit says that it is about making choices to become a living, breathing example of life, a life well lived, using meaningful measures of success. Okay? Success? But the key word here is meaningful. You see, I think that what happened with Heather and Jordan was successful. I'm not talking about with him completing his life. I'm talking about what she did for him when he was living and after he was not. That she was there for him. That she was able to be the person, only her, nobody else, that can sit with someone for 5.5 hours. So there was a meaningful measure of success. The second story I have for you is another bartender. His name is Justin Uhart. Of course, he was there at the concert. I already said that. And he saw this guy get shot. A lady get shot in the stomach. Another stomach one? Yeah, another stomach one. I know. And she was an older lady. He's a younger guy, you know. Her name, the lady that got shot, is Jan Lamborn. And he went over there to her while those bullets again were still flying. And you know what he did? He put his hand on the area on her stomach where it was bleeding out. And blood was going all over him, just like it was with Heather. But he got this inner knowing to just put his hand there. And I would guess that perhaps his hand being there was what saved her life. Yeah. And he, again, had this inner knowing that he needed to stay. And he stayed with her all the way until she was going in the operating room. Who would do that? He didn't know her. You know, we're always talking about those people that live over there, you know, wherever they are outside of the United States. And here these are, those old Canadians. And here was these two young people that felt that it was theirs to do to stay with them. And then when she went to the operating room, he didn't see her again for a couple of days. I think on Wednesday. He went and he saw her, and if you could just get a vision of what it was like when the two of them saw each other again, and all they could do was cry. In happiness that each of them were able to be with each other. You know, in this book, Living a Better Way of Life, the Dalai Lama, he says, I believe that all of us survive on the expectation and hope of happiness. None of us wants to suffer. The purpose of our life is the attainment of happiness. One can achieve happiness at the physical and mental level, as well as the level at which one can alleviate or abate suffering. That is what Heather and Justin did. They were able to be there in the moment to alleviate suffering. I'm not talking about pain, people. I'm talking about the suffering of you don't know if you're going to live or die, or you don't even have a moment to think. Are you going to live? Right? Like I don't know if Jordan had 5 seconds. But in those seconds, someone was there. You know, God said, I'll never leave you alone. And that if God is love and we are love, then we are there to be with people so that they are never alone. But even those people who were alone, laying there, they weren't alone. The presence and power of Spirit was flowing through them in a way that none of them were alone. Not the ones who were assisting or the ones who were laying there. Not the ones who felt like they were all alone. They never were alone. It's the most interesting thing. And Justin went on to say that, that Jan was holding his hand very tightly. Well, Justin actually said it was like a death grip. But Jan said his hand was like a death grip. Yeah, so they were both holding on to each other. And they held on and they held on and they promised to not let go. So our examples today are about these 4 people. They're about these 4 people and the choices that we make. You see, there are times in our lives when we get to say things like this, like yes, no, maybe, don't know. How many times do we have that happen? How many times do we have something before us and we don't know which way to go? We don't know which answer to take. We don't know which answer to make. We don't know which question to ask. Can I assist you in any way? Can I be there for you in any way? Can I love you from that unconditional place, no matter what? How many times in our own lives, right? If we look back, if we go back to that time when we were young folks that I suggested in the meditation, and we think about that person that we gave and had and received that unconditional love. What about the ones when we didn't? What about the ones who told you your glasses look like a cat? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about myself. And you know what? Now they make them again. I don't even get that. Okay, you won't see me in them. I'm just saying. I've already been there and done that. But what about those people who ridiculed us, or those people who told us we were bookworms, or those people who told us we had bad feet, or our fingers were wrong, our noses look funny, or our ears look funny, or our hair look funny, or our face look funny? What about those people? What about those people in our family who we call the addicted ones? You know, oh, Jane over there, you know, she's addicted to booze. How about Henry over there? He's addicted to gambling. He can't help it. Look at him, spending all his money up. What about those people who are addicted to love? You know, you go get a relationship, get rid of one, and go get another one, go get another one. And you keep picking up the same people. What about those people who are addicted to fixing things? You want to make it right. You want to be a little codependent. How many 12-step groups do we have? One for every thing, you know, every addiction, or whoever thinks they're addicted, we probably have one for it, you know? But what about those people? Are we willing to say yes, or are we willing to say no? And sometimes the yes is great and wonderful and amazing, and sometimes it's just hindering people. But in this particular instance, Heather and Justin said yes. They said yes to being all they could be. That they didn't have a no in their heart. They didn't have a I don't know in their heart. They didn't have a maybe in their heart. All they could say was yes, and a definite yes. And because of who Heather was, a family didn't have to wait for days like some families did. They knew right away. They could start their grieving process right away and not in days to come. And I don't know how hard that would have been for any of us. But I believe because we listened to Spirit that we would have did it. We would have did it, and we would have did it with that unconditional love as Heather did. You know, our Bible verse for today is quite wonderful. It comes from Isaiah chapter 30 and 21, and it says, "And when you turn to the right, or when you turn to the left, your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" And when we look at this in a metaphysical way, and what I mean by metaphysical, that means beyond the words that we see on the paper, we can pull out, how does that work for us, right? So when we're looking to the right or we're looking to the left, that's when we're saying yes or no. But when we are willing to have our ears be in it, then we're able to listen. Not just listen from the ears here on the side of our head, but listen from inside of us. Listening to that unconditional love of spirit outpouring, radiating out from us in these easy and most magnificent ways. We listen to the stillness. We listen to the space between the words. But then when we look at word, the word is really God. Just like in the book of John when it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and God is the Word. That word is God. That word is God, which is love. That word, which is God, which is love, is us. Because in the beginning, we were created in that image and likeness. And in the beginning, when there is only love, right? That is only unconditional love. And that unconditional love is what we saw in these examples of these four people. You know, our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, wrote this wonderful book called Mysteries of John. It's old. It was written in 1946, I can let me just make sure. 1946. And he breaks down John, and he says this about John. Well, first of all, you know, when we look at the word, in Greek, that word was called logos. Some people say logos. And that word, in its original form, according to Charles Fillmore, before it was translated into English, he says, in the original, it denotes wisdom, judgment, power, and in fact, all the inherent potentialities of being. This divine logos was and always is in God. In fact, it is God as creative power. Well, how are we creating? How are we creating? Are we creating in the Word, like the Word of God as us? Are we creating in that full potentiality that is always present and ready to express as us? I say yes. That yes, you are the potential that is there. That even with us having these examples of Heather and Justin, that we are the examples as well. How many times in our lives, I bet you can't even count them. I bet you can't even think of some of the times when you've assisted someone in some way. Whether you gave somebody a quarter, $1, $5, $10, $100, $1,000. Whether it was when you were willing to give of yourself by shaking a hand or giving a handshake. When you were willing to come here and sing and to be and to share in this potential that we all are. That when we are willing to do that, then we raise the vibrational level of the planet. We raise the vibrational level of the planet. That the more of us that wake up to the knowledge that we are all expressions of love, and that expression is of God, then we change the world. Because that's what Heather and Justin did last Sunday. Such that even with one, Jordan, his life being complete, he is still living. He is still living. He is still alive. And he lives on through all of us. That we are looking for these examples to show us better ways to live. Live in a better way. And that also in our book here that Rachel says, showing others that life is best lived with open hands, open eyes, and an open heart is the everlasting gift to others, as well as yourself. That when we are willing to look at this with zeal, our spiritual power of the month, that we're able to see that zeal stands for being eager and passionate about life. You see, Heather and Justin were eager and passionate to give. That when we are willing to have open hands, we're also willing to have closed hands, like what happened in their case. That when we are able to open our eyes, whether it's our physical eyes, our mind eyes, or the eyes within us, that we also close ourselves to the presence, like close off ourselves and feel the presence within us. That when we're willing to open our heart and release the judgment, release the doubt, release the fear, release, oh my God, is it going to happen again? Yes. Then we're able to trust, my friends. That we're able to trust the process. That we're able to trust in spirit. We're able to trust in who we came here to be. We're able to trust and know that we will do exactly what we need to do in that right and perfect minute, even when these things happen. And yes, prayer is necessary, but moving our butts is too. And what does that look like? I don't know. It might look like making an affirmation, right? I am peace, therefore there is peace. Life is peaceful. And then we go about being peaceful in our lives. I am love. There is love. Then we go about being unconditional loving. And so the action that comes behind the things that we say, that fifth principle kind of an action, right? The fifth principle said that the 4 of these are great, the 4 principles, you saw them earlier. But the fifth one is where the love happens. The fifth one is where the heart is. The fifth one is where the meat where we meet it. The fifth one is where the rubber hits the road and we put action into it. So why don't we just put some action into our words? Why don't we just let go of that judgment? We judging all over. You know you judge. Don't act like you don't. You're probably judging right now. There's a whole bunch of folks that we could judge about, isn't it? I'm sure you probably brought somebody to your mouth. I don't know who it is. Might be your cousin. Might be somebody else. I don't know. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, husbands, wives. You know, sisters, brothers. I don't know. I'm just judge. But our message here is to stop the judging and to start the loving even more. Because there is only love. Now our affirmation for today can help us get there. And here's what it says. Oh, it's up there. Okay, good. Thank you. Time to be. I am mindful of the choices I make in my life. Nice and simple. Let's say that together. I am mindful of the choices I make in my life. Let's say it again. I am mindful of the choices I make in my life. Our boots are made for walking. Our boots are made for loving. Take that into your heart for just a second. Focus on your heart space just for a moment. Taking a breath into it like you're breathing into your heart. Breathe into your heart now. Breathing in. Take another breath, breathing in. And let's say this love affirmation again. Together. I am mindful of the choices I make in my life. And so it is. And so we allow it. Namaste. And now it's time for our tithes, love offerings, and gifts. And our love offerings, you know, is another extension of our love. That's why we call them love offerings, in case anybody didn't know that. It's not a donation. It's a love offering. It's a tithe. It's a giving of ourselves in that unconditional way, like Jesus did. And letting go of any fear around it. Oh my goodness, I don't want to give that today, because what about me being able to buy some more boobs? We're still able to buy them even when we give. It just happens because there's an abundance of everything that we need. And the more that we give, the more that it comes back. I know when I was writing my check, I just, don't write that $100 check, you know you're going on vacation. Any old excuse. But let it go. And give so we can get it back from each other. Like if everybody did that on the planet, we wouldn't still keep half this stuff happening. So let's just give. Give what you can. Give from your heart. Give from that unconditional place. Those out there in Love Streaming Land, push that donate button and know you're not donating, you're giving. You're giving from a place of love offering. And with that, we say our love offering blessing together. Together, please. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are my source.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Sing it. I am the heart. I am the heart. I am the hands. I am the voice of spirit on earth. And who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world.
You are the blessing. We are the blessing. We just keep being the blessing. That's all that we have to do. And I know you want to know, what does Gandhi have to say on my check, right? Mm-hmm. He says, be the change in which you wish to see in the world. Be like Heather. Be like Justin. Thank you. And so we take a moment. I hear you. I hear you guys. I got my eyes closed, but I can hear it in my ears and in my heart. Rubbing your hands together, yes. Allowing ourselves to let that energy, that vibration, that high vibration that we have caused this morning to move through us toward this money substance as we bless it. God, the good, omniscience, we're so grateful for who we have been able to be this morning for each other. We give thanks for the giver. We give thanks for the gifts, knowing that the gifts are bigger than any money substance. It's great. We appreciate it. But the substance of it all is us. That we're grateful that all of us were able to be here together, whether we're being here now or whether we're listening to this or watching it later, that we are each being the gift. We are each allowing our vibration to fill the world and heal the world. Heal the world and make it a better place for you and for me. We give great thanks for the movement and activity of the presence of God moving through us now, and so it is. And so we let it be. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, where are they? Young adults in training, how y'all this morning? Good. What you been up to? See the boots? These boots were made for walking. Just like you guys walked up here, like that? We talked about boots today, a little bit. Talked about zeal today, a little bit.
So let's introduce our youth.
Yay!
So what's your name?
Dharma.
Khalees.
Khalees.
Sophia.
Sophia.
Lily.
Lily.
Tavion.
Tavion.
Rayshawn.
Rayshawn.
Lexi.
Lexi. Hello.
And that was our locomotive zeal train.
That was fun.
Yeah, we were talking about zeal today and how it's like a locomotive, and that, you know, we're like a locomotive, and we can start out slow and we build up momentum, but we also have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to use wisdom and our intuition so that we don't run off the track. And if the locomotive goes too fast, you might pull away from the rest of the cars. So this was a little bit of a lesson in understanding all of that. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it.
Awesome.
Quick announcement, there is a short teachers meeting next week, next Sunday, right after service, very briefly. And for the bottle and can drive, I got over $100 last drive in September, so thank you so much. And there is another bottle and can drive next week, so any donations we are very grateful for each and one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And we have our children's blessing and affirmation. Let's say it together, please. We bless our children wherever they are. We see you surrounded by love and light throughout the week. We have a thriving, expanded youth and family ministry. Yes, we do. And the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And the peace song, everybody.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let peace that